Welcome to the weekly news and review here at the Tigerium Hangar, where we talk about vintage to modern, Transformers, Star Wars, and whatever else I want to talk about, and video games to go along with all that. So, getting into that, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. There's a lot of great content almost daily, and please like this video because I like it. Anyway, moving on, we're going to get started with weekly news for June 9th. And we have this CCS Toys. It's called a gurren lagaan, and it's not really a Transformer. It's actually from something different. Looked into what a gurren lagaan is, and it is a Japanese anime that was ported over to the US. It's from back in 2007, and it came over here in 2013. But anyway, this thing is for sale at TF Direct with a pre-order of around $25, making me think it's going to be about a $100 price point, maybe a little bit more. Not 100% sure on it, so probably more like maybe the $130 price point. But it's about the size of an MP10 height, but it's got that wide wings. I think it looks really cool. I don't have much more information whether it transforms or there's other forms, because there's no pictures of another form. I assume it is what it is. But I thought this was pretty cool looking, and I've been getting a little bit of flack about being just a little bit too focused on G1. So something that's cool catches my eye. I want to talk about it. Next thing I want to talk about is this Dream Factory God 09S Smoke Repainted Bone Crusher. So whenever I see these movie figures, I kind of assume they're like a KO oversize, and this one's not. This is actually just the leader class, and it's a 9-inch kind of scale figure, and may not be exactly 9 inches, like 9.1 or something like that. But anyway, I like the 12-inch ones, and I actually want to pull the trigger. There's a handful of them I'm still considering, like of course a Prime and all that. But this guy, Bone Crusher, looks pretty cool, and I know that this guy comes in different colors just in the standard toy line. So this sandy one is actually, in my mind, kind of what this character should look like. It's a repaint, and I like the paint scheme. I like the way it looks, paint-wise, if you're in on the Bayverse stuff. And available at TF Direct for $95. So next I want to talk about some Flames Toys display at Wonder Festival in Shanghai. And this is a Megatron that they have, an IDW inspired Megatron, which looks really cool. And I just I like the wings. I'm not sure how the wings set into the whole Megatron bit. But it also is accompanied with an Optimus Prime in the IDW style that just looks pretty good. What's actually the Kuri, I don't know if I'm saying that right. So I don't know, not really IDW so much, but it's still a interesting look to the Optimus Prime and the Megatron, and I think they're kind of out there a bit, but I think these are larger than life too, just kind of beefy. The other thing I thought is kind of interesting is this. It's a Fury style of Flames Toys figure they've got here, which I think they look great, but I just love how the colors pop on these and the vibrant. I'm not so big on the way they pose them. Like, I think that these are very articulated. You can pose them to look a lot more, I guess, subtle and not extreme like these poses are. But anyway, I think they look pretty good. I don't really know about the price, and of course the big one is actually just a mock-up, like a bigger than life mock-up. The smaller one in the back is the actual size. Next, we're getting into some Prime 1 Studio statue, and this thing is pretty cool. Like, I didn't really appreciate statues until recently, which I still haven't pulled the trigger on any myself, but the statues can basically create absolute perfection with a few different options with it. But looking at this one, I really like the Ravage. Of course, I'm a Soundwave guy. I've kind of got a soft spot for Soundwave, and Ravage is my favorite cassette. So this kind of statue is probably something they're just trying to target me with. And I know there's another statue that's getting made by, I think, Gentle Giant, that's got a real super tuned G1 look to it. But yeah, the first 5 minutes of the Bumblebee movie has created quite a few characters that can be made into actual figures or statues, and they'd sell very well. Now, there's no pricing on this just yet, but knowing how statues, the minimum entry point is about $250, $230, $250, and this one's probably going to be I don't even want to guess. The last little bit of business that really wouldn't be G1, before I get to talk about some G1 characteristic kind of figures and releases that's coming out, is this is a Toy World, the Green Hornet purple version, and I think that it looks kind of cool. And I know that this thing transforms into some sort of like a classic looking car. And we've seen this model before, and it's just a recolor. And I know Toy World's infamous recolors that they have coming out. But I just figured this thing would be pretty cool to look at. And I kind of like this color better than the other ones they put out. So kind of caught my eye. Okay, so getting into some Legends talk here. I really want to talk about this Iron Trans M01 miniseries Prowl, and I think this is a really good looking Prowl. I know that we've recently had New Age Prowls and all of those Datsun Brothers getting made, and I New Age looks great, but then this one's coming out, and I kind of like the slimmer, slimline look to this. And in fact, I was thinking, man, if that thing might be good enough to upscale, I like it. I was thinking this could be upscaled to the 6-7 inch size and put on a Masterpiece shelf. But of course, I always have that thought, but once it's done, we probably would be like, oh, maybe not. But it looks good. I like it. And they've gone with some Toon colors and Toon aesthetic with the windshields. Also, the whole team here, this whole set, now that looks pretty good too. I like the set of all three of them. And so I'm not a super Legends collector myself. I'm fighting the urge to get into it. I'm dabbling, and as you can see, I've been doing a few Legends videos, dabbling in it, but I'm not going in full board, full force myself. But man, this is a tempting little option here. Car mode is one of those where you can get away with it that small. And yeah, like I keep saying, upsize these things. If you upsize that, it would look terrible. The small Legend size can get away with it. So listen, McFans Toys, steer clear of this one. Don't upsize this one. Okay, so next thing I want to talk about, I put a video out about the Takara Hound and the MP47. This thing looks great. But the day after, they put more press releases, pictures that look amazing, and make this guy look even better than I was saying he looked in my video a few days ago. I think Wednesday, something like that. But, so this came out Thursday maybe, or Friday. So these pictures come out and just knock my socks off. Like, I'm super excited for this figure. I was sort of excited about it. I was like, yeah, Hound, this looks good. These pictures show a much better looking Hound than I originally was thinking and seeing, and I don't know about the shield / Jeep cover. I would never use this thing, but still, it just looks amazing. It looks amazing in all modes too. But I don't know about that shield cover. But looking at it, you're actually getting better pictures, so you can see the engineering, sort of like in my mind, how it's going to transform in a way. Just a lot of great things with this figure. Yeah, the $160 price point still sucks. I think I'm gonna still working on how to get it for $120. Amazon Japan's not the cheapest this time, which is a disappointment for me. I was gonna do a whole video on how to set up Amazon Japan, how to order this from Amazon Japan, but I don't know if that's really necessary so much. But definitely a good looking figure. Here's the accessories that it comes with, which, you know, commands the extra $40. That's $40 with accessories. It's actually $35 just for the shield piece. But that's super articulated and really along the lines of what they did with their Sunstreaker. Next thing I want to talk about, if you have a Jetfire pre-ordered on this next run, the Fans Toys Phoenix, then it should be shipping soon. I know I got one coming. I paid too much for it, but I'd rather pay $50 or $60 too much for it than wait potentially 5 years, because there will not be another release. I still think this is all one run. I seriously think this is all just one run. all the way through. This is not a an actual rerun or re-release or reissue. This is all just backstock that they have held back for whatever reason, and according to my sources, only about 300. So if you check your normal sites, you may catch one pop back in stock and get it for the, I don't know how much they're selling, $220 plus. Getting into some Star Wars news here. Here we are talking about the Sandcrawler on the Disney shop back in stock, and for $100, people talk about the bad paint on it or whatever. In real life, it's not that bad of a paint job. I mean, yes, it's not a great paint job, but in real life, these photos don't do it justice. It looks so much better under just normal lighting and really fits well on display. So if you've been looking for this, it's back up. Next bit of Star Wars news. There is a Kickstarter, I think called Blue Milk or something like that, that's for making a vintage collection book. And it's already reached its goal and everything, so it's gonna happen. But I think that there's good and bad to this. So the good is I like these collection books, and I like when you can have a resource and go, every single thing that was made in the vintage collection is in this book, and it's awesome, it's amazing, it looks great. And I'm for that. I actually have some vintage Star Wars books like that. I have some collector's guides and stuff resources that I use. I actually use them more just for fun to flip through them versus using them as checklists. But the problem with this is that the vintage collection is not done yet. So we're still releasing new vintage collection items. There's still new stuff coming out, and it's not over. So to get an archive book of all of the vintage collection figures and vehicles and box art and all that stuff, so it's sort of like an up to this point book, in my opinion. I'm curious how they're going to go about it, whether there's just going to be updates in the future, different drafts, I don't know. Or if it's just going to take so long that by the time they get the book out, vintage collection is over. But still, it's a great resource, and they're going to have a lot of behind the scenes kind of discussions and a lot of behind the scenes stuff. So it's really cool. I didn't get in on the Kickstarter, but I would love to buy one of the books. I don't really know how it works. If it's going to be like the sell barge where you really can't buy it unless you were part of the Kickstarter, I don't know. So there is Fallen Order game footage, and it is interesting. I kind of look at this Fallen Order game as almost like The Force Unleashed 3. I mean, I loved The Force Unleashed 1. 2, to me, was a bit of a letdown, but The Force Unleashed 1 was probably, in my mind, the best Star Wars game ever made. People will disagree with me on that, but I'm kind of hoping this goes along those lines with upgraded graphics and just a lot more that you could do with it. And so with that, the gameplay footage just kind of shows mechanics and kind of what's going on with it. But it's going to be a great game, and I'm a very avid Star Wars Battlefront 2 player. Just that's something that I've been transparent about. Play that quite a bit, and I even have some videos about it. But the thing is that this is not going to be, I don't believe there's going to be anything online with this, which doesn't bother me either, because I never really was big on the online games, so Battlefront and Battlefront 2, but this looks great. Of course, graphics going to be amazing, and pretty excited about this coming out. Last bit of Star Wars news is that Wave 2 of the Archive 6-inch figures is hitting. I actually was able to pick these up at my local Walmart, and so kind of excited. Sadly, I have all of them already. It's not like a huge deal, but I'm going to do a comparison video of the old and the new, and the big deal is the photorealistic art, face painting and art on them, whatever. I know that the Scout Trooper looks a little bit different to me, so when I get to comparing these, it's going to be quite interesting. But if you miss these the first go around, a couple of things happen. Number one, either you paid a ton of money to pick it up later on in life, or you bought, some of these were KO'd, like the Maul was KO'd to death. He was mauled to death with the KO market. But if you are excited about these kind of things, start checking your Walmarts now. They're going to show up. I just think the archive collection and how they're doing it is pretty cool. Although if you had these in the other boxes, like these won't match up to your boxes. So that's the downside. Anyway, Let me know what you think about this week's news. Any input you have, like, subscribe. Titanium Hanger out.